Now, if you were to ask me what is the first manga that pops into my head that I think deserves a proper anime adaptation, well, that would be Berserk. Now, if you were to ask me for the second manga that I think deserves a proper anime adaptation, it would still be Berserk. Now, for the third manga that I think deserves a proper anime adaptation, in all seriousness, is Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man really falls under the category of shonen series that isn't really shonen whatsoever. In the video I did on the truth of shonen versus seinen, I tried to get to the point near the end that inherently the labels do not matter, but if not the content within the manga. This is definitely not a kid-friendly series, and if I'm being completely honest, unless this winds up on Netflix, I can see them adding a lot of censorship to the anime, which I think would overall take away from the tone of the series, which is one of the pluses in my opinion, which is what makes it very unique, and therefore I really hope that when Chainsaw Man does get an anime adaptation, it is done properly. I'm tired of really dark mangas that have an extremely good story coming off as only edge fests in their animes because the anime cannot get the message across correctly. Yes, I'm looking at you, Tokyo Ghoul anime. Now, I am currently still reading 20th Century, but today I was just chilling and I saw a video by Forever World, or I saw it appear on my suggested, him covering Chainsaw Man. Some of my homies had also covered Chainsaw Man on their channel, and on the poll of what you wanted to see me read next when I finished 20th Century was, well, Chainsaw Man. So I decided, you know what, let me give it a try. And I am around chapter 70 at the current moment, and I love it. I think overall from what I've read so far, this series has everything necessary in order to set up a really well done story. I honestly don't see where it can go wrong, although again, expect the worst and hope for the best with the whole anime adaptation thing and it doing it properly. But I really see things in Chainsaw Man that speaks to its amazing potential, and I think the first thing we need to do is start off with the concept. The concept of Chainsaw Man is an extremely cool and unique one that is easily sellable and easily marketable. Although again, the gore and the extreme violence might not be appropriate for younger audiences, as well as some of the nudity that appears within the manga, but overall the idea and the style of the fights is extremely intriguing. The art style within Chainsaw Man is exquisite and very well done for the style of the story. It's raw, at times it can be a little bit messy in that Tokyo Ghoul style when things get a little bit hectic, but overall there are panels where there is amazing level to detail, and it's impressive. I think one of the main things when it comes to a quote-unquote shonen jump manga, or really any manga in general, something that I really do appreciate is a well-done protagonist. One that can be entertaining and intriguing, but is well fit the thematics within the series that he is in, whilst also having room to grow and develop, or at least progress as a character. And the protagonist Denji is one that I find very, very, very solid. Because many times when I look at a lot of the other protagonists, for instance, within the quote-unquote shonen demographic, or at least those style of mangas per se that are given that label, the protagonist tends to have a goal in mind, and there's nothing wrong with that. As I've stated in videos before, having a protagonist that is very inspirational through their willpower to accomplish the goal they have in mind, like Hokage, achieve the One Piece, be an awesome hero, etc., 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 that can be done really well. But what I love about Denji is something that is very common amongst a lot of the protagonists that I love the most. They don't necessarily have a clear goal in mind. They live for the moment, but they tend to ask themselves the big existential question of what is their purpose, who they are, what they are, and what do they do next. Denji as a protagonist is not, again, your typical one that you would see within the weekly Shonen Jump magazine. He's someone who moves from goal to goal, and he's inspired by very trivial things, to put it nicely. Essentially, if it wasn't for his chainsaw powers, he's pretty much every teenage boy in high school, going off of pure emotion and hormones. And I'm talking about like when you hit 10th, 11th grade hormones. Like it's bad. But despite his trivial goals, he gets the job done. He's extremely fun to watch. He has his comedy relief moments. When it's time for things to get serious, it gets serious, and he's honestly just an extremely cool character. But as I stated earlier, I really do appreciate how they set him up to be a character who does not have a clear goal in mind. I am extremely intrigued to see what happens when the current goal he has with this whole girl to please her and to kind of end up with her, if that ends up crumbling and falling apart, how will he grow from there. The antagonists are also pretty unique and they stand out as well, although it doesn't have that villain, if you get what I'm saying, like that upper echelon of antagonist, but I'm also really early on in the story and I imagine it's definitely going to have one, and the side characters themselves do their job. Even Aki, who is an extremely cool side character, he doesn't ever really strike me as outshining entirely or taking up all of the spotlight that the protagonist deserves. And that is one thing that I really do appreciate about a manga when it does that. The protagonist is the protagonist, and they let him be the protagonist. Overall, Chainsaw Man has been an extremely fun and entertaining read, an easy read as well, although I will admit one of the knocks I would have towards it, although not a big knock, just a minor nitpick, is the dialogue early off can come off as pretty corny, again because these are some teenagers and Denji is this uneducated hornball of a human being. And whatever criticisms I could have over the overall story, I will give them to you once I've read or caught up fully, and I get to see what truly transpires with Denji's development, with the other side characters, what ends up happening, who else dies, who else appears in the series that takes it to a new level. And I think a lot of the themes that are presented within Chainsaw Man not only have a lot of relevance and at times a hit and feel with the issues and things, you know, that we relate to, especially as teenagers nowadays, but if not, it also has themes that gives the story a lot of substance and complexity, and again, a ton of room for the characters to grow within. I'm yet to read Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm going to check out Fire Punch, because apparently I've been told that that's made by the same guy, but it's also extremely well. If Chainsaw Man gets an anime adaptation, and a good one, I genuinely think Chainsaw Man's got next. I really hope as this ends up getting even more attention, and the day, again, it does get an anime adaptation, it gets a lot of attention, that the fan base isn't, the last thing we need is Chainsaw Man getting like a My Hero Academia level type fan base. I understand not everyone in the My Hero fan base is horrible, but man, have I seen some things. But yeah, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as well as turn on the bell notifications that way you're notified when a new video pops up on some of your favorite anime, manga, or whatever content. As always, this has been The Masked Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and peace.